if they try to get Hugh Jackman nominated for Best Actor or Patrick Stewart for Best Supporting Actor.
Maybe.
Because both of them are Academy darlings, as I would say. Jackman hosted the Academy Awards back, I want to say 2009.
That long ago? Jeez.
Yeah, and Patrick Stewart obviously has a number of nominations, and he does have an Oscar, right? I think.
Probably. I mean,
I would assume so.
Yeah,
his last role was in the Emoji Movie.
That's fair. But both.
You think you'll win for Poop?
I don't know if he'd be considered.
I think Poop's gonna win. I don't know.
Yeah, but both of them are very appeasing to the Academy in general, and so I wouldn't be surprised to see it nominated. And it's a movie I would definitely want to see.
I think it will get nominated.
Yeah.
I think it'll get nominated at least,
especially with this early promotion for it.
Yeah, for sure. Also because now the Academy nominates around. Last year I think it was 8 movies, but I think they've gone as high as 10, and so I would love.
Movies.
Yeah, I mean honestly, right now I can't really think of any other movies that could also get nominated for Best Picture. Obviously, we haven't hit the November stride yet with good like Oscar bait movies. I know
what's coming out. That actor who recently passed away in Alien. I know there's a movie about him coming out called Lucky. He's in it.
Okay.
So that they're saying is like Oscar bait there.
Sure.
Another dead actor in a lead role. So
sure.
I forget what his name is. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, and Mike was also mentioning the Disaster Artist.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've only seen trailers for it, but that's aiming to get Oscar buzz because, again...
James Franco's performance.
Yeah, another biopic.
Yeah, that would be the most full circle thing to happen for The Room.
Being
dubbed as the worst movie ever, to have something that's associated with it win an Oscar.
Yeah, that would be amazing. So, any final thoughts on Logan being possibly nominated for Best Picture?
I'm interested.
Just glad to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have what you were calling up?
Harry Dean Stanton.
Okay.
That's his name.
All right, so if that's it for Logan, we are going to move on to Blade Runner. Now, we recently watched...
What about Isle of Dogs?
Oh, okay.
We're talking about Isle of Dogs.
Fine, we will talk about Isle of Dogs.
All right.
I didn't forget. I just... no, I did forget.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to blatantly ignore it. We recently watched the Isle of Dogs trailer. I know it came out a few days ago. And it was interesting.
It's Wes Anderson.
Come on.
All of Wes Anderson's movies are like this, and they're all really good.
Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah, and Grand Budapest Hotel. Did you see that? I love that.
Okay.
The animation looks awesome.
Yeah.
It looks so incredibly
I was
detailed.
very intrigued by this movie.
That must have taken forever to do.
It seems very artistic and very interesting.
Yeah.
You know?
That's fair.
Yoko Ono has a voice credit.
Yoko Ono should not be in this movie.
I noticed, I know Bryan Cranston, Scarlett Johansson, I saw.
Jeff Goldblum, Bill Murray. It's really star-studded.
Wow. Well, it's a pretty good cast. I mean, I'm not saying that it looked bad. It's definitely an interesting story. It's just
not your cup of tea.
Yeah, it's not one that like grabbed my attention. This is not a movie where I'm saying I have to see it before the year ends.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do like that arty stuff sometimes, though. Just be like, oh, I can watch this. Look at me.
But if you gave me a free ticket,
I
would be all over that.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, it does. I will give you it that it does look very interesting and like original. I don't know. Is it based on any source material?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Wes Anderson
seems original.
Yeah.
When's it? I think it comes out soon-ish. Look it up.
I believe it's before the end of the year, so it could get Oscar
For Best Animated?
news for Best Animated. I don't know what else.
I can see that happening, maybe. Depending on how the movie actually turns out.
Yeah, actually, March 23rd, 2018.
Oh,
so
no.
it will
maybe the next.
It will miss Oscar season.
So we were a bit off there.
It'll miss Oscar season by a bit. So now officially turning it over to Blade Runner. Yes. We recently on Saturday, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, we watched the original Blade Runner. It was my first time watching it. Was both of your first time as well?
It was my first time watching it.
It was my second time.
Okay, and overall, I liked the movie. It has a lot of hype, and especially now with the sequel coming out, with Ryan Gosling, Jared Leto, Harrison Ford coming back, and I will say it was definitely a good movie, but it didn't grasp my full attention at all times. I'm going to turn it over to Jake first.
Where to start with this movie?
That's right.
You know, there's a lot of people in the world who regard this as the greatest sci-fi movie of all time.
I can see why.
There are people who would claim that. I don't know if I completely agree, but I'm a huge fan of the movie, you know, and I'm a huge fan of Harrison Ford's performance, and I mean, it's a very well-made artistic movie.
Yeah.
Especially for it coming out 1982. 1982.
Some of that stuff's amazing.
Yeah, because you kind of look at it with our 2017 lens, and you say...
Takes place in 2019, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You look at it with like our modern day lens, and you say, "Oh, well, it's not that good." But I always compare it to like a movie like Star Wars, because Star Wars, I'm still blown away by the special effects, even though they're very similar to Blade Runner. Just because it's because it's set in a completely different world. This does take place on Earth.
Yes,
right?
It does take place.
And so overall, with I don't know if it has a name, but the pyramid, like at the very center.
The Tyrell Corporation.
Yes, that looked amazing.
Yeah.
And in the new trailers, in the 2049 trailers, it looks amazing as well. Overall, just to give my thoughts on the movie, I just thought at times it kind of lost me. At times it was kind of strange, but it was taking risks, and that's what I like to see in a lot of movies.
Yeah,
especially
it was a flop originally. You know,
it's a cult film. It's really
but it got its ratings back up throughout the years.
Yeah,
people saw where it was.
And
sure.
I can only imagine if I had been in the movie theater way back then, and I had seen those wide shots at the beginning where I'm seeing all of the buildings of this new dystopia in New York.
Right.
I mean,
LA.
I would have loved it. I would have loved it.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you want to talk about the actors?
Sure.
All right. So Harrison Ford, he's known for his action adventure and he's leading man, but he did such a great dramatic performance in this movie. I was unexpected by it. Like, he's a really good dramatic actor.
Especially the scene with the replicant who wasn't. She wasn't a violent replicant.
Rachel?
Yeah, and he kind of came on to her, and it was like an uncomfortable scene, but it was really.
It was weird.
It was showing the depth of Harrison Ford's acting capability.
Yeah, he's not this perfect man that you want him to be.
He's really good.
It's a flawed character.
Yeah, especially in this dystopian future, you can't expect him to be perfect. Did you want to continue with Harrison Ford?
Yeah. I mean, he plays Rick Deckard. And he's a Blade Runner, so his job is he's hired to retire replicants.
Yeah,
it's a fancy word for killing them, basically.
Yeah, and the replicants obviously are the artificial humans made by the Tyrell Corporation.
That became a little too human for comfort.
Yeah.
And he's just really good. Like, it was a great dramatic performance, and I was honestly unexpected by it because I thought he was going to be like more Han Solo, Indiana Jones, but it was definitely it was really good.
For sure.
I think he nailed the frustrated old cop. I feel like the main basis for this movie is like a sad cop movie in the future.
Yeah, I wanted to get into the ending of it with the message of
Roy.
With when Decker and Roy, I believe he's basically almost ready to retire.
Yeah,
Roy.
replicants live for about 4 years.
4-year lifespan.
And then they just end. And what Roy and his other replicant buddies are trying to do is trying to increase their lifespan, but they fail.
And you notice in the final scenes of the movie, you notice that Roy is kind of going off the hinges.
Yeah, he's going crazy.
Tell he's malfunctioning, and it's towards the end of his life right then.
Yeah, and so the exact quote, I can't remember it completely, but I do know something along the lines of, "You'll live, but what truly is living?" It's something along the lines of that.
I'll look it up.
Anyways, the message, no matter what the wording was, the message still really brings into question just this idea of life and what does it mean to live and who are you if you're being controlled by someone else. And I just really thought it was powerful, despite the fact we actually have the quote right here. This one?
Bottom. I've seen things.
It goes, "I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of the Orient. I watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhäuser Gate. All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain. Time to die."
That was really moving. It was a great performance.
For sure. And it just kind of shows that, like tears in rain, it's such a simple quote, but it's so poetic and
it's so powerful.
Yeah, especially for that character.
And this idea that
it fits the character very well.
Everything he's seen, he's seen it, and he feels like he's really felt it,
Right.
But everything that he's felt is just lost to the ages as soon as he's retired.
He wants more life. He's been given 4 years. It's just not enough. And because to replicants, I would assume life is so much more important because they're not real.
Yeah.
And they know they're not real.
And they've only got 4 years.
Yeah.
We've got many more.
And for this idea, back to the tears in rain quote, it's this idea of nature versus man, in that you can feel emotion, but the nature of like rain can just wash it away.
Well, yeah, I feel like
make you feel
tears and
obsolete.
rain they're both water.
Right.
So when it's raining, when you're crying, the tears don't matter because you're already getting rain.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of a redemption for Roy, I think, at the end. Because,
yeah.
I mean, you saw throughout the ending, he could have let Harrison Ford die multiple times. He saves him at the end.
He values life, and he doesn't want to see something die. Right.
I think it was more about life than anything else.
That's why I think Roy is a great villain, because the best villains are the ones who have the layers to them. They're not just evil for no reason. Yeah, and this idea that he just wants people to live, and that kind of plays on the fact of this idea of taking life for granted, because humans don't know how long they have to live. Well, replicants know they got the 4 years. So it's kind of this idea of he sees everyone just living their lives and not living it to appreciating it, living it to the fullest necessarily. And yeah, I just found that very interesting at the very end, with him being so obsessed with continuing his life, and he just sees humans.
When he's denied life by his creator, he kills him.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful, because like he's so obsessed with life to kill someone because he's not giving him life.
And there's a lot of imagery at the end of the movie when
he just gets a dove.
All of a sudden he jumps to the building and he's holding a dove in the rain, and I don't know. And he dies and he lets it go, and you see the dove fly off, and I thought that was a really powerful moment, maybe even more powerful than the soliloquy itself.
For sure. I wanted to get into a little bit about what 2049 is going to bring to the table, because I really like this idea of Jared Leto's character. I don't know much about him, but I do know he's trying to bring replicants back into fruition. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he is a replicant himself, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was.
Yeah. It still hints that Harrison Ford may have been a replicant in that movie.
Yeah, because there was a time in the movie when he goes, they want him to take the test, right?
Yeah. She mentions how he's never taken the test himself.
Yes, and in the trailer for 2049, Ryan Gosling, when he finds Harrison Ford again, he goes, Decker, like Officer Decker, I have to ask you some questions, and that's like so eerie.
Well, if he is a replicant, though, that's longer than 4 years, so maybe they'll add something in.
Maybe he's found a way to extend his lifespan.
Yeah. Also, Jared Leto's quote from the trailer, he said something about every good civilization is based on a disposable workforce, and I just found that such like a powerful quote. Slaves. He straight up says slaves?
He straight up says slaves.
Okay. But this idea of just calling them like what they are, just obsolete like mules basically, and wanting to bring them back despite the danger they might cause.
Yeah, I think that's what they were for. I mean, they used them for like, humans can't go up in space, but the replicants up there. And
then they were the other ones were used for like pleasure or for menial labor. Yeah. But I think that's really interesting that Jared Leto's character is kind of going in the reverse of the way that Blade Runner ended at the end.
Right.
You get that message at the end about like life and how precious life is, and are they alive or not? And now Jared Leto's saying no, they're not.
Doesn't matter.
Just a workforce.
Yeah, it really brings intrigue into what...
He goes like, happy birthday.
Yeah, something like that. It just really brings intrigue into what 2049 can bring. When I first heard like there was a Blade Runner sequel being announced, because I hadn't seen it at the time, I didn't really know much to say, but the fact that it was a standalone movie in the 80s, I didn't know what more you could really expand upon, but after seeing it, my excitement for 2049 has heightened a lot.
I believe there was, like, there's always been talks of a Blade Runner sequel.
Yeah.
Like, they want it. And I think it's a perfect time for it, especially in the social climate.
True.
And Harrison Ford's still alive.
He's remaking all his movies. Star Wars, Blade Runner, Indiana Jones, and like 20-something.
Yeah, 2019, I believe, Indiana Jones. But the cast they got for 2049, as I mentioned earlier, Jared Leto. Obviously, people know him nowadays just because he played the Joker. Mm-hmm. And I know people...
He's done more.
Yeah, but...
He's in a band, right?
He's in a band.
30 Seconds to Mars.
Yeah.
And...
I saw him in Mr. Nobody. Did you see that?
No, I have not seen
that. It's on Netflix. It was actually really good. It was really confusing, but I liked it.
Right, but what I was trying to say is that people kind of know him nowadays in pop culture for, you play the Joker, but he has a lot more depth to him as an actor. Like, he does have...
Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah, and he won an Oscar for that, I believe, Best Supporting Actor, where he played a transgender.
A transgender woman, I believe.
Yeah, so he really goes to lengths. All right, speaking of going to like lengths and really immersing themselves into the character, I wanted to bring up this point about Jared Leto on set. We all know about how he is as the Joker, being in character all the time.
Sending people gross stuff.
Sending people used condoms, dead rats, stuff like that. Well, his character in Blade Runner 2049 is blind. And you would think, okay, so they'll just add in the special effects, you know. But, of course, Jared Leto refuses to let himself act and rather just B, I guess. And he got contacts that make him blind, but if they are worn too long, you will go blind.